Hey guys, sorry it's been a while, but I've been super busy at my day job the past couple months. Today we will be building and reviewing the Geeek A50 case that I have right here. I said building and not just building in because like the other Geek cases we've tested out on this channel, this one has to be totally assembled because it comes in a flat box. When I was reviewing Geek's A30 case, I complained about how their manual wasn't very intuitive, and I'm sad to say they haven't really remedied this issue with this case. The case took me over 2 hours to totally assemble with PC components and all, which by the way, I would highly recommend putting your PC components in while assembling the case. It speeds up the process tremendously. This case has a very similar layout to the Dan A4, but at half the price of the Dan A4. The real question is, how does it compare? Geek uses acrylic panels to create all their cases, but starting with Geek A30, they added metal supports to make the overall structure sturdier. The Geek A50 maintains the use of these metal supports and definitely feels pretty sturdy after constructed. I wouldn't say it feels as premium as the Dan A4, but the acrylic is cut very accurately, and all the panels fit together nicely. And like I said, the metal supports help. The only thing I don't really like about the case's materials is I feel like they could have made some of the panels a little thicker, and on the black A50, all the acrylic has glossy finishes, which makes it impossible to construct this case without getting fingerprints all over it. I do think the black looks really slick, but the fingerprints are definitely an eyesore. This case supports many ITX systems with a GPU maximum length of 300mm, height of 134mm, and depth of 50mm. The RTX 2060 I chose for this build had plenty of room, but be careful in choosing your GPU. No tall cards, and definitely none of those 3-slot cards that are becoming quite popular. The case can house 2 different 2.5-inch drives on this piece of acrylic, and has room for an SFX or SFXL PSU. The maximum height of your CPU cooler is 66mm, which will allow for countless SFF coolers. However, I've noticed in other reviewers' videos that they really detracted the A50 for poor airflow, since the only vents in the side panel are these little cutouts that create the word Geek. After my thermal testing, I actually found that the Geek A50 performed quite well thermally with my RTX 2060, AMD Ryzen 1800X, and Noctua NHL9A cooler with a slim profile fan instead of the original Noctua one. After running AIDA64 for 10 minutes, the CPU's temp maxed out at 75 degrees Celsius, and under a gaming benchmark with the GPU, maxed out at 68 degrees Celsius. I've seen other reviewers get well over 80 degrees Celsius on the CPU and pretty close to 80 on the GPU side as well. The reason I believe my configuration in this case performed better thermally was actually because my GPU and CPU were thinner than most other case reviewers were using. One reviewer was using a Noctua NHL12, which should perform better than my NHL9A, but his NHL12 was right up against the acrylic side panel, which I think suffocated its airflow. Since my cooler had more room, it was able to get adequate airflow from the vents in the side panel. The same principle goes for the GPU on the other side as well. Most reviewers were using thicker cards, so they get suffocated for air since they are right up against the side panel. If I had to give this case a rating out of 5, I would give it a solid 3.9 out of 5. It looks very nice as long as you can keep it clean. It's affordable at $100 compared to other similar cases, and it performed as well as most FFF cases do for thermals, at least with my configuration. The main thing it loses points for is how cumbersome it is to assemble the case for the first time. Geek improves with every case that they send me, and I look forward to reviewing more of their cases on the channel. If you have any questions about the case, please feel free to ask them in the comments below. While you're down there as well, check out the description. All the parts seen in this case review can be purchased from there, and I also now have a merch store, so check it out. And let me know what you think of the first round of merch. This is Zach with Next Tech News. See ya!